Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday, Sisterhood Team Call. I'm so excited for this one, for Clarissa to be sharing with us tonight, and for just stepping up to lead this call. Clarissa's not even been coaching that long, so I'm just so proud of you and just to have you on this team, but also for you to be the type of person that says, yes, I want to lead a team call. So I'm really, really excited for tonight. Before we pass it over to Clarissa, let's open it up for recognition.
I can go. First of all, I want to welcome Lori Delahunt-Kalori to the Sisterhood, our big team call. Lori's just finishing up the February mentorship. In January, guys. Remember for years, I wish I had known years ago when Lori first started how amazing these programs were, but she's been coaching since January and she already has 7 clients. So I'm so proud of you, Lori. You are off the ground and running and you are doing amazing. Yeah, your internet sucks tonight. Okay, thanks. Hope you got my shout out in. All right, Lori, sorry.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to go. I want to give some shout out to Aki. Aki hit diamond last week. I am so friggin' proud of you. She started working out in September and decided in November that she wanted to be a coach, and she hit diamond. You are a force to be reckoned with. Your community is amazing, fit and wealth. Aki is all about, your health is your wealth. That's always been her mission. So becoming a coach is something that was just natural for her to do. So to you, my sis, my girl, I am so friggin' proud of you. Keep soaring, and I cannot wait to keep doing this with you. Congrats.
I'll go. I just want to welcome my new coach, Kim. Kim is a longtime friend. Totally into health and wellness, and honestly, I know that she's just going to kill this. She's absolutely loving the programs, and she has a bike, so she's been into cycling. And anyways, I just want to say welcome to the crew, and I can't wait to see you soar.
All right, I will go. I also have a massive shout out for Nadia. Nadia is hitting diamond tomorrow, but she's also hitting 1-star tomorrow because her and Aki are both going diamond at the same time. Well, Aki went last week, Nadia this week, so she's entering into 1-star qual, which is massive. I'm so proud of you. Watching you shine and step into this role has just been such a gift, and seeing your mentorship already transcend and impact so many other women. I'm blown away by you. I'm so excited. You got 5 more weeks to hold, and then it's Las Vegas next year. So proud of you. Way to go. I also want to give a big shout out. I know a lot of you are pushing to hit Success Club by the end of this month. And I want to say that I see you working hard. I know that you guys have been through the ups, the downs, the roller coasters, all the things. And I see you showing up and being so real, so authentic and inspiring and shining your light. So congrats to all of you still, I don't want to say hustling, but still working hard. I lastly want to just acknowledge all the people who are doing Brad Bizjack's Mindset Challenge. And I just want to congratulate you for your vulnerability. It hasn't been easy, but watching all of you go through it and genuinely pouring your heart out and really, really doing it instead of just being a silent observer, proud of you. Congrats. Just wanted to say I see you.
All right, I got a few. As you guys know, I think Erin did a live in our coach page last week about it. Once a month, Beachbody releases what they call the elite rankings. And it's a whole series of points that you get for enrolling customers, having new coaches hit Success Club, and having new coaches get their first point in their first month. And they released the rankings. So I'm so excited. I want to shout out these 3 coaches that made the top 100. Sarah Patterson, number 94 in the company, guys. That's out of like 400,000 coaches. And that's pretty freaking cool. I think that's her first time in the top 100. Is it, Sarah? Yeah, like it's massive. It's so cool. And, you know, February, they're going to announce them again. And whatever they're going to announce them again. And, you know, it's really cool to see our team recognized and to see these leaders up there on that board. So congrats to Sarah and In Stride, to Erin Girouard and Every Effort, number 54 in the company, like just insane, not even 2 years in. Congratulations, Erin. And to Andrea, number 29 in the entire company, been coaching like on her 1-year coach anniversary. Another congrats to Andrea, who is in 1-star qualification as of last Thursday. And another congrats to Andrea, who has her very first Beachbody speaking opportunity tomorrow. She is doing a power hour at 7 p.m. So I'll drop those details in Coach Corner if anybody wants to go on and support her. Sometimes just even seeing a familiar face when you're doing something like that is really cool. And I'm so excited for you that you're starting to be a part of the larger community, which is Beachbody Corporate, getting those call opportunities, being in 1-star qual to attend your like NLC fully paid conference. It's just really cool steps to building this business. So big congrats to you. And then they always release a Canada board. So those 3 ladies were on it. Erin Yak was also on it. Brianne, Stoner, Nakor. I think that was it. I hope I didn't miss anybody that was on there. Erin, did I? But Sisterhood represented, super, super cool. And those boards come out every single month. What's really cool, like just for perspective, guys, like Andrea was 29, Erin 54, Sarah 94 in the entire company. Both Erin Yakubuski and I, and you guys all know, we're always going to keep it real with you. We were in the 200s. I was 240. I don't remember Erin's exact number. Every single coach, every single year has equal opportunity to be a top coach. It's just the way it is. And I love that about the system that they put in place, because it's not based on coaches that enrolled 10 years ago and you can't coast on someone else's success. It's based on coaches that you enroll this year, on customers that you enroll this year. And that is freaking powerful, because a coach that's been in the business for 12 months can be number 29 in the freaking network because of her efforts this year. So that's really, really cool and should be really encouraging to you guys. That's it. Erin, before we pass it to Clarissa, I was hoping that maybe you could just do a quick blurb about the bikes coming out tomorrow. I know people are all asking where their code is and how to enroll, and just like, you know, a quick little blurb so people feel that they know what's going on.
Yeah, super exciting. I spoke a few weeks ago about the bike launch and how it's up to you if you'd like to buy it. Ultimately, for the music situation right now, it's the same as what's on Body right now. So for those of you who have been using Body, you know what I'm talking about. I purchased my bike last week in advance to help them with the customer service to try and like iron out some shipping things and such. But the bike is launching tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. They will be sending out those codes for each coach and preferred client to get a discounted price. The discounted price is $13.89 Canadian. That includes shipping and the white glove delivery installation in your house. Those codes should be sent out tomorrow morning. That's my expectation. And it's good for you and for other people to get that discounted price on that. You go to the Beachbody Mix website. Maybe we'll post this in the coach group so that everybody has access to it. This isn't something that you're sending over share cart, okay? They need to go to this Mix Beachbody website and they'll enter the email that they use with Beachbody already. So if they already have an account with Beachbody, they'll use that same email address and that will make sure that it's connected to your account. And then they'll go through there and they'll enter the code if you give them the code that you have. That's it. I don't know much more than that. So if there's any other questions, please comment them there and I'll answer them. That's it.
I was on mute. All right, Clarissa, the floor is yours. So excited to hear from you tonight. Take it away.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. You know, I will tell you, My heart is beating out of my chest already. And, I knew that I was going to be coming into this call emotional. And I think part of me felt like maybe it's not meant to be. But I think that what it's teaching me is that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. So there's a reason why I'm speaking to you tonight, and I'll tell you it's not because I have all the answers. I'm simply here to share. And out of everything I've learned, I've come to realize, more importantly, that there's a reason for everything. And so I hope that there's a reason why you're on this call tonight. Ironically enough, when I volunteered to speak on this call a couple of weeks ago, I decided on this topic about embracing the hard because I felt like I had kind of gone through my dip. And I felt like I had my shit in check. And although I was struggling, I felt like I had kind of made my way through. But as the days go on, I realized not so much. And so I'm having a bit of a rough go. And so I just want you to know, obviously you can tell, I'm nervously showing up for you tonight, but I'm not just showing up for you, I'm showing up for me, because I know that I'm stepping outside of what's comfortable for me, and that means that I have an opportunity to grow. And so in sharing my story, some of the things that I might talk about might be triggering for you, because even when I was jotting down a few notes, it triggered lots of emotions for me. So, I'll tell you just to protect your heart in whatever way that looks like for you. I kind of wanted to start talking about sharing a bit of my personal journey, because I existed before Beachbody. Wild, right? I say that because sometimes we forget that. We get so caught up in our identity as coaches and feeling all the pressure to do all of the things. But it's really important to remember that we're all human beings who have lived experience long before any of this. And that lived experience contributes to how we show up for ourselves and for others in our relationships and in our businesses. So paying attention to our stories is really important. Every single thing is entwined. And I'll tell you that it really wasn't until about 10 years ago that really sank in for me, that I have a story and that my story has value, just like you. You have a story that has value too. So as I share parts of my story, I really want you to think about your life and the path that you've been on as well. I grew up in a small multicultural little town in Nova Scotia on Cape Breton Island, and I was an only child of my mom and my dad. My dad was an entrepreneur. He owned a club, which was just super cool, and my mom worked in insurance. I was a girly tomboy who loved playing with Barbies, but at the same time could grab a hammer, nail, and a piece of wood and get dirty in a split second. I was always daydreaming and writing stories and getting caught up in the possibilities of all that could be. It's funny, my mom still laughs at having to yell out the bedroom window for me to get to school as I walked through the path. I was busy catching butterflies, tadpoles, pretty rocks, pretty much anything other than walking to school. My report cards always said that I talked too much. They'd make comments like, if only she was as interested in her schoolwork as she was in her friends, she'd be much better off. But I really didn't want for much. If you had asked me, I pretty much had it all. And that was until at the age of 11, my parents, it's so funny, you still feel things so much, right? At the age of 11, when my parents sat me down and told me that they were getting a divorce and that we were moving to Ottawa, where my mom was from, I remember being devastated, not just because my parents were separating, but because it meant I would be moving away from everything I had ever known. I was comfortable. And at that point, everything was being ripped away from me. I had lost this sense of control that I never really had. I remember my mom had to leave first because she got a job. So I stayed between my dad and my best friend's place for a few weeks before it was time for me to leave. And my dad left next because he drove our boxes and stuff to Ottawa in a U-Haul, the same U-Haul that I tried to hide in, but didn't work. So I had to fly by myself at 11 from Sydney to Ottawa. And I can still remember walking out on the tarmac. Sydney has a super small airport. So going to board that little plane that was going to take me from Halifax and then on to Ottawa, it was all like really surreal. We had moved in with my mom's sister, so my aunt and my cousins, who had ironically like just experienced the same kind of thing, break up with their parents. Funny enough, like that's all my mom needed, right? Like one pissed off preteen to find another pissed off preteen to disrupt the world. And that's literally exactly what we did. And for the next few years, I did any and everything. Truth be told, I shouldn't be here. I went to a high school where, you know, I was one of very few people of color. And with that, I experienced a lot of stereotypes, you know, the idea that I was tough, don't mess with her, silly things like she can sing and dance because she's Black. Like, yes, people said that's stupid shit. And her hair, oh, that's so cool to touch. Not so much. I kind of like went with what they thought of me and played into their idea of who I was, like couple that with being pissed off at life that led to a lot of stuff. Shoplifting, stealing, drinking, drugs, fighting, running away. Like you name it, I did it. I've been sexually assaulted, almost kidnapped, arrested. Like I said, I shouldn't be here. When I was 16, I met a guy from Montreal, and just 2 months after we met and 2 weeks after my 17th birthday, while I was at school, I decided to go across the street and steal a pregnancy test. I took it in my high school bathroom, and it was positive. I remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, what the fuck? I had just moved back to my mom and my stepdad's place after years of running away. Like, and now I was expecting a baby. You know, I felt like I had really screwed shit up at that point. I told my mom that I was pregnant by writing her a letter and putting it under her pillow. Nice, right? I actually still have the letter. It's pretty amazing that my mom kept it. You know, when I look at it, dated September of 1994. You know, my mom was going to be a grandmother at the age of 38. It took her a while to wrap her head around it, but like when she finally asked me what I wanted to do and I told her that I wanted to keep the baby, she agreed to support my decision. I lived with her during my pregnancy, but I still felt so alone. Like I remember feeling so judged while I was pregnant. I was already trying to process so much myself, and the weight of other people's opinions just made everything so much more difficult. During my pregnancy, my son's dad fucked off. Like he literally only saw me 2 times while I was pregnant. And when my son was 5 weeks old, we moved into our own apartment. By 3 months, if you're familiar with Ottawa, we actually attended a local organization called Uville Center. It's an organization that provides social supports and childcare and high school education for young moms and their babies. And it felt so good to be accepted without judgment of my past. It was like a fresh start. I remember so many times like having to stand on the bus with my backpack and stroller because people wouldn't move. You know, they gave me the side eye without even realizing like all of the things that I was doing. I was living on my own. I was raising my baby. I was trying to better myself and to give him a future. And then 3 weeks into attending Uville Center, My dad passed away from a heart attack from drug use. I had never lost anyone before. And I remember my mom coming to my house to tell me what happened. Everything after that was pretty non-existent. Like, my memories are mostly blank. I was a daddy's girl, so experiencing my first funeral and it being my father, it was just a complete and total surreal experience. I actually remember, and I'm sure people who've been through lots of shitty things, like, you know, I actually remember kind of existing outside of my body during that time and just watching myself go through the motions, all while having a 3-month-old baby that I was the sole provider for. I did what I needed to get by. I graduated Uville Center. I went on to college. Like, I missed my dad so much, and I wanted to provide that family for my son, that even though I knew it wasn't in my best interest, I got back together with my son's dad. After about 6 months into our newfound relationship, he hit me. He actually did more than hit me. He beat me up pretty bad, all because he was jealous. And I remember him sitting on top of me afterwards and telling me, like, do you see what you made me do? It felt like it was out of a movie. You know, we went through the motions, we broke up, we got back together. Like, you know, we all know that that's often the way, right? Like, it takes an average of 7 times for a woman to leave her abuser. And I remember living in fear of judgment from my friends and family if they found out that I went back to him. All during this time, I was going to college, all while my partner lived in Montreal doing who knows what. Like, he never contributed to our finances or cared for our son. He pretty much just came around when he wanted to. My focus was on going to school and taking care of my baby, and things pretty much stayed the same until 3 years later, I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And I joke about that because it's clear, like, I like to do shit the hard way. I don't know. So I was still going to college. I was taking the bus, but now I had a 3.5-year-old and a very big pregnant belly. And the looks and judgment, of course, like, just continued all over again, but I didn't quit. Like, my education was so important to me, so I continued on. I gave birth to my daughter in July, and in August, I went back to college with her in tow. I brought her to class with me until I could secure childcare, because there was no way I was going to stop. It didn't take long for him to leave again. It also didn't take long for him to hit me again, twice actually. And the last time would be the worst time. This time it wasn't in the privacy of our home. He actually assaulted me in public, giving me a black eye and almost breaking my nose and jaw and knocking out one of my front teeth. Having to go home and face my children, at this point they're 7 and 3 years old, was probably one of the lowest lows in my life. I still remember how scared they were when they looked at me. And for the next 1.5 years, I went through several reconstructive surgeries on my mouth, where they had to use bone from my chin to build up the bone in my upper jaw gums. I sat through court proceedings and experienced, like, some of the lowest lows of my life. I felt ugly and unattractive. I felt stupid. I felt guilty for something I felt like I had brought on myself. I'm actually, like, not even sure how I managed through it all, but to be honest, without that experience, I would not be who I am today. I've been a mean girl and a bully. I've been a shitty friend. I've been used, and I've used other people. I've been in an unhappy marriage. I've hustled school, work, family, all at the same time. I've been through divorce. I've developed an autoimmune condition from freaking stress. Like, I've been in debt. I've had my account in collections. I've been on medication for my mental health. I've had my heart broken bad. And yet I'm still here. And it wasn't until 15 years after I actually graduated as a student from Uville Center that I got the opportunity of a lifetime. I actually applied for and I got a job at Yuval Center, the very organization that I went to as a young mom. You know, it's like those are the signs when things are just meant to be. It was one of those. The person whose job I was actually applying for was the same person who used to take care of my son at the center while I was there as a student. It was like a complete and total full circle moment. And when everything came together and they got to know me, they realized how much value I could give by sharing my story. It was a great PR benefit for them, really, to have a former graduate be their success story. But I think actually it did more for me than it did for them. It was only then that I started talking about the things that I had been through and the hardships I had overcome. It was only then that I could take a step back and actually like acknowledge myself for all of my hard work. It was only then that I truly realized the value of being vulnerable. You know how they say the more you give, the more you receive? It's so damn true. And I share these things with you not because, like, I share them with you because I know I'm not alone. And if I'm not alone, then that means that you're not alone either. We don't have to share the exact same scenarios. This isn't a competition of who has had it worse. This is about remembering who the fuck you are. And I absolutely and totally mean that. Like, I need you to sit with that for a moment, because without me even knowing what you've been through, I'm sure you've been through some shit. And when times get tough, it's important to remember that, because as crazy as it is, sometimes we forget the fact that we have survived up to today. You are a survivor. Like Aaron mentioned, this week I've been one of the ones participating in Brad Bizjak's Success Accelerator Mindset Challenge. And one of the things he said that really spoke to me was, even if it's not your fault, you still have a responsibility to do something about it. Sometimes the hardest things about life is knowing that we are responsible for ourselves. And sometimes it feels easier to want to be taken care of. Sorry, I'm like snotting all over myself here. But I'm here to remind you that there's something really powerful about being in the driver's seat. There's something really powerful about being an active participant in this life. Like, when you start realizing that you have control, no, not over everything, but you certainly have control over yourself, you begin to develop the skills you need to get through tough times. It's only through facing it that you will get these skills. Yes, and I say skills because people aren't just born with knowing how to navigate all of this stuff. Those of you who have done job one, you may remember Jennifer Jacobs saying something about confidence is often so tied to our appearance and what we look like, but true confidence comes from what we do. And so I'll ask you, like, with what's on your plate right now, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do to build that confidence that you can and will freaking make it? Like, we know, studies have shown that the practice of gratitude is one of the leading ways to walk.
Something happened to your sound, Clarissa. We can't hear you. No.
No?
Oh, there you are.
Okay, I'm back. Okay. So I was just saying, like, you know, that we know that studies have shown that the practice of gratitude is one of the leading ways to walk through adversity. And I know how difficult it is to adopt the idea of being thankful for your challenges. But the way I look at it is, if I was never challenged in life, like, would I have the perspective that I do now? Absolutely not. So there's so much value in having gone through hard shit. Like, in 2014, I came across, I've talked about it before, the 100 Happy Days Challenge, where it posed the question, could you be happy for 100 days in a row? Like, laughable, right? I thought so too. And I decided to give it a try by naming one thing that I was grateful for daily. I decided to log it on Facebook, and I made like the rule to myself that I would have to post my 100 happy days post by midnight each day. Very quickly, I found that I was waking up wondering what my happy moment was going to be for that day. I started paying attention and seeing the beauty in like the simple things that were around me. And it meant that even on the days when I struggled to find something I was grateful for, I knew I could rely on happier moments and times that could act as a grateful moment for that day. That practice allowed me to shift my perspective, and it literally changed my life. I don't care if you have to force it. I'm going to challenge you to do the same. Documenting my 100 happy days on Facebook was so good for me because people started following along. They were looking forward to my post, and it helped keep me accountable, all while I was inspiring other people to see good in some of their darkest days. Of course, it doesn't mean I never struggled or had tough days, but what I did do was it allowed me to stay, it did allow me not to stay in that negative place for long. Since then, I feel my feelings, I have my lows, but like I will never lose perspective. I really do believe that like the architecture of my brain was freaking changed by that practice. So the same way trauma can change your brain structure, the practice of gratitude can do that too. Not only did I do the challenge for 100 days, like I didn't want to stop, so much so that I continued to do it for 365 days twice. It's the most beautiful thing. You know, Facebook memories can sometimes haunt you. But I will tell you, with my 100 happy days, I'm always so happy to see something pop up that reminds me of that time. You know, Kim Fitzpatrick uses the saying, everything is data. 3 simple words that literally can change your life. Use it. Like, find those things that speak to you, those things that touch you. If it's a quote, if it's a mantra, if it's a sticky note, if it's a magnet, like I really don't care what it is, but you need to find something. You need to use that something as your compass, the compass that guides you back on track when you're feeling lost. And when you look at your experiences, information, you realize that they're in place to serve you, to provide you with the tools. But if you don't use that information for the greater good, it simply becomes weight. Weight that will literally weigh you down, making it much more difficult to move through life. Like sometimes I wonder, why is it that these mindset mentors can say these things that seem so simple and true, yet they like knock our socks off? How many of us have heard something and said like, God, I was mind blown. I mean, I know I've said it several times participating in the mindset challenge this week. And then when you break down what they said, you're like, duh, no kidding, right? It's so true. And I think that's because for some reason, in that moment, something clicks. It could be what we're going through at the same time for some reason, and what that person said just makes sense. The problem, though, is that we often hear it, goes in one ear, we're like, oh yeah, that's good, passes through, and it's gone. We have to keep on keeping on, and we need to hold it close. We need to be able to put it into practice, and if we want to create real change, it means that we have to take action. Like, sorry, not sorry, but it's true. One of the biggest hurdles really in creating change is adjusting our mindset. And we've all heard, if you believe you can or you can't, it's true. If you don't think like new or different is possible, then how are you really going to change? Like that shit.
Can't hear you. I think it's your earbuds. Just take them out, maybe.
Yeah, but for some reason, okay, hold on.
So much better.
That's okay. I'm just going to make sure that they're turned off. Okay, we're good now. You can hear me, yes? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank God I have notes. So, the thing is that, there we go. It's going to take work. Nothing is going to work overnight. Like, it's not going to be done in 1 week. It really is a lifetime commitment. And you know what? That's a fucking gift. Like, what a gift you have to have the ability to give yourself by constantly working to be a better version of you. Now, better doesn't mean perfect. Like, fuck perfect. As I say, I'm going to be honest. Like, I have to check myself on this too. This is not just me telling you how to act or think. Like, this is me reiterating the message to me because I need to hear it also. Like, this is the most amazing thing about being a part of this community. We're constantly leveling each other up, and we're always in a state of abundance. And what I mean by that is that we always have someone else here who's able to lift you up, like to offer a resource or a shoulder to cry on, or like, man, I'm going through that too. Like, so start taking the time to understand how our brains work. I really think that that's something that's so important, because once you start to realize that our brains are designed to protect us from threat, like, you'll learn why you can't rely on the desire or motivation to want to. I always say you have to stop waiting to want to, because it doesn't work. This is why we talk about the importance of uncovering your why. Koo talks about it all the time. It's one of the things that I love listening to her for. Not just in this business, guys, but in your life. Okay, so who are you as a person? When it comes down to integrity, who do you want to be? And if you want to be a kind of person, then ask yourself, what would that kind of person do? What would they say? How would they act? And let that propel you into something different. Like, don't just ask yourself that now. Be present. Stop being passive participant in your life and ask yourself those questions in the moment, like when you're struggling. And at the end of the day, it's you against you. You are the longest relationship you will have. How are you going to navigate that? Like, if you want to live your life on purpose, I want you to be proud of that. Because there's a lot of freaking people on this planet who are simply existing. And yeah, maybe on the outside, they have it easier, but really, like, at the end of the day, who wants easy? Life is never easy for those who dare to dream. So dream big. Color outside the lines. Like, try shit, and if it doesn't work, try again. Stop comparing yourself to others. Brad said one thing this week that hit me like a ton of bricks. He said, others' success is not my failure. Others' success is not your failure. It doesn't mean that you can't do these things. Like, so start looking at other people with feelings of inspiration instead of feelings of doubt. How are you showing up? Seriously, not half-assed, not perfect, but like somewhere in between, right? Where you're always present enough to know better. When you know better, you do better. So do that. Be that. No one is going to do it for you. So why not take the pen and write your own damn story? And when you find yourself stuck, sit with it. Don't push it away. Don't go sit in a closet. Like, feel it for a period of time, and then ask yourself, now what? 2 words that will force you into some sort of action. 2 words that give you no choice but to move forward. Brad also shared that, like, when shit's about to go left, what are you going to do? He used the example of a race car driver that spins out in a race. What would be more beneficial for them? For them to stare at the wall they're about to hit, or to stare at the road that they're trying to get back on track with? So freaking true. So you have to ask yourself, like, what direction are you looking in? Hard is going to happen regardless. That's life. But once you start noticing what is happening for you and not to you, you really start to realize that you actually have everything that you freaking need to get through. And if you don't have the skills yet, find the damn tools to build the skills. My first year in this business was literally an amazing whirlwind. It actually felt pretty effortless. Like I worked hard, but it was like I put in the work and I reaped the reward. But guess what? It didn't last. Not that those rewards aren't still available to me, but I found myself in a place where I have to work harder to get what I want. And that's been a really tough pill to swallow, especially because those markers were indicators to me in my mind that I was being successful in this business. And so I've really had to spend time with myself and ask myself, like, what does success really mean? Is it a rank? Is it advancement? Is it a number? Is it an income? Like, I literally don't have it all figured out yet, but one thing I can tell you is that I'm committed to figuring it out. And at the end of the day, success should be about how you feel. You know what success is? Success is waking up each day knowing that you have another freaking chance to do it again. Like your story is still being written. How exciting is that? Nothing is etched in stone, no matter, you may not be able to change your past, but you have the full capability of seeing things differently. The past is a choice. It's a choice to see challenges as an opportunity or adversity as a chance to grow. I'm just going to finish with this. I listened to the lyrics of Jessie J's song, Masterpiece. If you haven't, if you don't know it, I want you to Google it after, and I want you to listen to the words. She says, I still fall on my face sometimes, and I can't color inside the lines because I'm perfectly incomplete. I'm still working on my masterpiece, and I want to hang with the greatest. I got a way to go, but it's worth the wait. No, you haven't seen the best of me. I'm still working on my masterpiece. So be your fucking masterpiece, man. You are your greatest gift. Surround yourself with dreamers. Be with people who want to make a difference in their lives and in the lives of others. The rest is up to you. So cry the tears, feel the things, say what the fuck as many times as you need to in the day. I sure as hell do. And one more thing I'll share with you from Brad's Mindset Challenge group is how today he said that there are people in this world who won't become their best selves until you become your best self. Don't take that as added pressure. I want you to see it as an opportunity to create impact, to create a legacy, to have something to be remembered for. If there's one thing I won't do, it's to give up. And I really don't want you to give up either. That's it.
Wow, I am sure that everybody along with myself are feeling so much gratitude for who you are, what you shared with us tonight, your vulnerability, your raw emotion and honesty. You are an incredible human, and I appreciate you sharing your truth with us. I love the lessons you're learning through Brad in only freaking 3 days. I'm with you, alongside you. I love that everybody's lessons are a little bit different. But I think one of the biggest takeaways from tonight that I love that you said was, what does success really mean? And I think that that's for each and every one of us to define and figure out, right? What your goal, what my goal is, what our success looks like is different. And I'm just so proud of you. You are one incredible human, and your light shines so bright. And I know that you have already impacted so many people's lives and continue to do so. So appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Clarissa.
Thank you for stepping up and offering to do this call tonight. I love that. I love your leadership. I love that you were just like, I'm doing it. I'm scared. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm here for it. That is growth. That is growth.
Thanks so much, guys.
You're welcome. You're incredible. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, Sisterhood.